July 1940, Berlin. Adolf Hitler is triumphant after conquering Western Europe. His army has crushed France, Belgium, and the Netherlands, and General Keitel calls him the greatest military commander. From Moscow, Joseph Stalin, his unexpected partner, sends congratulations. In London, Winston Churchill remains isolated, while in Washington, Franklin Roosevelt refrains from any action. While armies fight, these four leaders wage an invisible battle, an intellectual confrontation where truth mixes with lies, flattery, and manipulation. The European conflict becomes a struggle for global dominance. At the heart of this war are psychological duels in which allies become rivals, and their actions, full of selfishness, are always aimed at personal gain, despite the heroic image some enjoy today. August 1939, picturesque Salzburg. Adolf Hitler is planning the invasion of Poland, but he is tormented by the fear of a two-front war, haunted by Germany's defeat in the First World War. Britain and France are ready to defend Poland, and Russia could become a threat from the east. The only solution is a deal with Joseph Stalin, whom Hitler despises as an ideological enemy. He sends signals to Moscow, launching a psychological game that will define the fate of the war. Stalin, suspicious and cautious, studies Mein Kampf, where Hitler calls Bolshevik leaders bloodthirsty criminals. But he sees an opportunity in Hitler's proposal and agrees to receive Ribbentrop in Moscow. Goebbels, the master of Nazi propaganda, writes on August 22, 1939, "The agreement with Moscow is a success. Ribbentrop is on his way. We are on top again." On August 23rd, Ribbentrop arrives. Hitler, obsessed with racism, orders a photographer to examine Stalin's ears to check whether they are Aryan. On the night of August 24, 1939, the Nazi-Soviet Pact is signed, including a secret protocol on the division of Poland. Hitler rejoices, but as Goebbels writes, his decision is driven by fear of Stalin's betrayal. The Führer feels like a supplicant, and in hard times, even the devil clutches at a straw, he notes. In the Kremlin, Stalin raises a toast to Hitler. "The German people adore their Führer, so let us drink to him." But in a private conversation, "This is chess. He thinks he has outplayed me, but I have outsmarted him." Stalin has admired Hitler for a long time, since 1934, when Hitler eliminated opponents during the Night of the Long Knives. Hitler, on the other hand, sees Stalin only as a temporary partner, for he dreams of an alliance with Britain. Both leaders act out of fear. Hitler fears a strike from behind. Stalin fears a German attack. For them, mass murder is a tool. Stalin, having destroyed millions, compares himself to Ivan the Terrible. "Who will remember those wretches in 20 years? Hitler reasons similarly. Genghis Khan killed millions, yet history sees him as a state builder. For them, the state is everything. People are nothing. Hitler calls Germany his bride, while Stalin tells his son, "Stalin is not me, it is Soviet power." On September 1, 1939, Hitler attacks Poland. Britain declares war, and Churchill returns to government. Stalin supports Hitler, stating that it is Britain and France who attacked Germany. In Poland, Hitler's SS kills 60,000 Jews and members of the elite, while Stalin's NKVD kills 20,000 officers and prisoners. These crimes strengthen their alliance. Stalin uses the pact to expand his empire, occupying the Baltic states and demanding territory from Finland. The Finns resist, and the invasion becomes a catastrophe. 125,000 Soviet soldiers die. Stalin executes commanders, but his terror has already destroyed the army. Goebbels. Stalin is shooting his own generals. This plays directly into our hands. By the way, our channel has a video about the heroic Finnish resistance during the Winter War, including the incredible sniper Simo Häyhä. We recommend watching it. May 1940. Hitler launches the Blitzkrieg in the West. France collapses. The British retreat. Stalin is shocked. Khrushchev recalls, "He was running around, angry, cursing, condemning the West for its weakness." At the same time, losses in Finland reveal the weakness of the Red Army. On June 17th, France capitulates. Stalin, who expected a long war, sends congratulations to Hitler. Hitler, intoxicated by victory, wants peace with Britain. Galeazzo Ciano notes, "He is like a gambler who has won and wants to stop." But Stalin fears that Hitler will now move east. He occupies the Baltic states and Bessarabia, but the seizure of Bukovina, not provided for in the pact, angers Hitler. Franz Halder writes, "This is a violation of the agreement." Around the same time, Churchill writes to Stalin, urging him to beware of Hitler. Stalin sees this as a provocation and reports it to Berlin. Hitler, believing his mind to be a calculating machine, sees both Stalin's actions and Churchill's letter as a conspiracy. On July 6, 1940, he returns to Berlin as a hero, but one question torments him: why won't Britain surrender? On July 13th, Halder records, "He believes that Britain is counting on Russia." On July 19th, Hitler begs Britain for peace, but Churchill refuses. Roosevelt's nomination and his criticism of Nazism intensify Hitler's paranoia. On July 22nd, Hitler declares, "Britain relies on Russia, and Stalin keeps us in the game." He tells his generals, "The destruction of Russia will crush Britain's hopes. We will begin in May 1941. But autumn brings setbacks. The RAF defeats the Luftwaffe, delaying the invasion of the Soviet Union. Hitler believes the war is won, yet he cannot force Britain to surrender. On November 12, 1940, Molotov arrives in Berlin. Hitler offers Russia a share of the British Empire, but Stalin wants answers about troops in Finland and Romania. The tense negotiations irritate Hitler. On November 15th, he decides the alliance with Russia is over. Stalin realizes Hitler is turning against him and says, "Hitler is intoxicated by victories, but we must be ready sooner than in 4 years." On December 18th, Hitler issues Directive Number 23 for the rapid destruction of Russia. But he is uncertain. The Führer does not know how things will turn out. Stalin believes that Hitler will not attack without an agreement with Britain. In January 1941, Hitler threatens the Jews. In March, he orders, "Destroy the Bolshevik intelligentsia. This is a war of extermination." Stalin, meanwhile, believes he has time to prepare. On April 13th, he signs a pact with Japan, joyfully drinking with Matsuoka, yet reassures the Germans, "We shall remain friends." In May, Churchill warns about an attack, but Stalin does not believe him. Hess's flight to Scotland convinces him that the West is provoking war. Stalin dismisses intelligence reports about an attack. Hitler is not a fool to open a second front. On June 16th, Hitler declares, "We will destroy Bolshevism." And on June 22nd, 1941, Hitler attacks. At 3:30 a.m., 3 million soldiers invade the USSR. Hitler writes to Mussolini, "I am free from the burden of the alliance with the USSR." Stalin is in shock. They attacked like bandits. His conspiracy theory collapses. The Red Army retreats because he forbade preparations for war. Lenin created the state, and we have lost it. On July 3rd, Halder writes, "The campaign is won in 2 weeks." Stalin admits, "Never imagine yourself in someone else's place. It is a fatal mistake." As a result, Hitler won the Battle of Mines, but his attack on the USSR ultimately cost him victory. This attack destroyed Hitler's dreams of empire and European imperialism, creating the coalition of Stalin, Churchill, and Roosevelt. But this coalition also began with suspicion and deception, shaping the fate of the world. Friends, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. This will motivate us to create new and interesting videos. That's all for now. See you in the next videos.